There have definitely been occasions where I have got up at 3 o'clock in the morning and driven here, and I've had between 4 a.m. to 8:25 to get to grips with what I'm doing, and I get on my knees and say, Lord, bless this mess.
Pastors set their own schedule for the most part. We don't have a boss over us who's saying, here's what you're supposed to do this week. We have to be self-motivated. That means we have to be deciding what we're going to say yes to and what we're going to say no to. You have more opportunities in front of you, available to you, than you have capacity or time. How do you filter and decide, I'm going to say yes to this and no to that?
Well, sometimes I get it right and sometimes I get it wrong. When I get it wrong, and then I have to try and pull back and see if I can get squared away. First of all, my calling is to pastoral ministry and to this church, to the pastoral duties that are demanded of me and granted to me. I aspire to that. That is not anything that is alien or unusual to me. My natural reaction to trauma, to disaster, to pain, to disappointment is to run to it, not to run away from it. I'm not impressed by simply talking and running for the hills. So that's what the pastoral ministry and the demands and privileges of a local congregation in which I've been for a fair amount of time amongst people who know me very, very well, and therefore they can discount the highs and the lows. They can say it was not so good, but don't worry, there'll be another Sunday, that kind of thing. So that's what keeps me studying my Bible. That's what keeps me visiting the hospital. That's what keeps me doing weddings and funerals, because that's to what I'm called. Beyond that, those things are supplemental. They're not fundamental to me. And so I treat them in that way. When I think about accepting invitations, how do I decide? Well, I'm looking more and more for, if you like, multiplicatory opportunities. So, for example, if you are invited to speak to a group of college students who are at that stage in their lives about to go on and out from there and invade all kinds of places, then an investment for 3 or 4 days in that context will have potential to yield benefits far beyond that. In the same way, going to speak in a context where people are involved in a missionary endeavor, that they've been brought together in Lima, Peru, out of a bunch of different places that I'll never be able to go. And the only reason that I'm there is to go to do what I've been asked to do, and that's to teach the Bible in a way that hopefully is encouraging. In the same way, in speaking to pastors and to young pastors, I mean, I'm the beneficiary of people who come and speak to me, so maybe I can speak to them. And again, that's multiplicatory. If we can encourage pastors not to be downhearted, to keep up, to be courageous, to be able to admonish without being unkind and so on, then that has a multiplicatory element to it. What I'm less and less interested in is, and I don't mean to sound pride in this, but I mean, we get an invitation to be one of 12 speakers at 12 great weeks or something like that. I look at that and go, well, if I go, that will be one week that isn't that great, so why don't I just let that one go? And also, it's not, those are not wrong, but I'm not as drawn to that. I did a lot of family camps when I was younger, and I feel like I've made my investment largely in that area. I mean, I was only in my 30s when I was doing that, but I'm in my 70s. Surely there are young men that should be getting these opportunities. So if old guys like me don't say no, then you'll continue to be asked until they're pushing you around in a chair. And so if they're not going to uninvite me, then I need to kind of uninvite myself. So that's how I'm approaching it at the moment.
In a typical week, you have pastoral responsibilities, and then you have preparatory time in the Word. How do you carve up your week?
Yeah, well, Monday we have our team meeting on a Monday, and first thing on a Monday is just sort of recoiling from Sunday. And I used to get up really early on Monday mornings and meet with one of my colleagues. And after a while, we said to each other, why are we up so early in the morning to do this? I mean, could we not rest a little bit more? So it's partly age, but so we ease into things a little more. The breakfast meeting has now become a lunch meeting. Mm-hmm. And so that frames the greater part of Monday. That and any administrative elements that have come out of a Sunday. What I like to do is before I leave on a Monday, I like to try and at least read the passage that is still awaiting me on the following Sunday, so that I feel at least that I know what the verses are, even if I haven't done very much with them. Then I can walk away from that, and then I have Tuesday. And so Tuesday I take as a day off, and then when I come back on a Wednesday, it depends on where we are in the month. We have 2 elders meetings a month, one on a Saturday morning at 7:30, one on a Wednesday evening at 7. But from that point on, though, the focus is on Sunday as it comes, with interruptions that are both planned and unplanned. And I sometimes have to be really ruthless with myself in order to achieve what I'm doing. And I have to often ask the Lord to make up for me the time that I have missed, hopefully not by indolence or by self-indulgence, but by actually driving down to the Cleveland Clinic, even though, one of the other fellows would have done it gladly, but the relationship that I have with a person, it would be regarded in a certain way. So you're buying time from yourself for that. And like next week, I'm here now, but then we've got the pastors' conference. So this pastors' conference ends, and then Sunday comes, and Sunday is Mother's Day, and I'm in Jude, in these dreadful verses in Jude, that you can't read the next 3 verses in Jude and then go, and a happy Mother's Day to everybody as well. And so I've been exercised last week. Well, what am I going to do with this? I don't like Mother's Day talks like this was Walmart, or this was somebody came up with this idea. We love mothers, but what can I do? And then I said, well, what about the fact that Paul in Thessalonians, it says, we were gentle among you as a mother with her children. And then I said to myself, maybe I can come out of the pastors' conference, recognize it's Monday, take a break from Jude and do that. So last week I worked really, really hard on next Sunday, because I knew that the pressure would be on this week, both leading up to Wednesday and beyond that. And then on Monday of next week, I go to Ottawa to a conference with the Timothy Trust and Jonathan Griffiths that I agreed to 2 years ago, which, again, that's one of those, what do you say no to, what do you say yes to? And but again, it's for pastors. Mm-hmm. So,
have there been times when you have carved out this time for your sermon prep, and then something happens and that time gets invaded, and you're thinking, I'm coming to the pulpit somewhat empty, less prepared than I wish I could have been?
Yeah, yes, without question. I don't want to let it be known very, very loudly, but there have definitely been occasions where I have got up at 3 o'clock in the morning and driven here, and I've had between 4 a.m. to 8:25 to get to grips with what I'm doing, and I get on my knees and say, Lord, bless this mess. Yes. But I don't want to make a pattern of that. But sometimes, what are you going to do? Or you were on a trip somewhere. You were due to be back on Friday evening. You didn't get back till 11 o'clock on Saturday night. And all the idea about doing your study on the plane, I'm no good at that. Mm-hmm. I'm like a jumbo jet with studying in that I can sit for a long, long time before the brakes even get released to start that big long run down the runway. Once it gets airborne, I can stay up for a pretty long time. But I admire these guys who are like Harriet jump jet guys. You know, they can take off and do it and land and do something else and come back to it. Constitutionally, I'm no good at that.